Last time we got to talk to you was in the fall before the big tax bill went through. Give us your reaction of what do you think it means for American business?
Well, I predicted it would happen, so there was many who didn't.
Good job.
I predicted it would happen by the end of the year. So that's I'll stop there. Thank you. Next question.
No. What does it mean for American business?
This is a landmark tax change. Everyone's looking and saying, what's it going to do next quarter? What is the company doing? This financial statement. This completely changes the landscape for how U.S. businesses are taxed and how foreign investors coming into the United States will be taxed. We talked about the 1986 Act as the last time this happened. The international rules, which were just changed, really were back from the 1960s, so it's been much longer than that. What it will do, it's not a tax haven. The U.S. rates are now competitive with the rest of the world in the low 20s. The international system is now commensurate with the rest of the world, where you will not tax companies just for bringing home their money. And you have now expensing, though, for the next 5 years, and some other incentives and some new base erosion provisions. What will happen, you're seeing, is it will be less expensive to invest in capital equipment. There'll be greater cash flows to give back to employees through wages or bonuses. We saw some 200 companies announce that. And it will go to shareholders in the form of dividends and buybacks as well if there's no investment opportunities. But I really believe this is a great opportunity for business to invest in plant and equipment, which will increase productivity, which is going to be incredibly important. And I will tell you this, we work with companies all over the world. We are already seeing foreign businesses re-examine their supply chains to directly invest in the United States. You heard about Chrysler, Fiat doing it. You heard about Foxconn last year. There's a whole line of companies thinking about it.
All right, maybe in part because of that tax cut, says Secretary Mnuchin today, said that the administration is committed to a 3% GDP growth target. Is that attainable and sustainable, Mark?
I think a 3% GDP target is optimistic. I think everything would have to go just right. And I think if we get it, it will be after we get the result of the investment in the plant and equipment, which will lead to the productivity. It's not going to happen, in my view, next quarter. And it's when we get more training for the workers and the money spent on that they could be more productive, where we can hire more people, the wages go up, demand goes up. So I think that's going to take a year or so. But I think it's on a steadier course for going up as opposed to being flat and going down where it was for the last 10 years.
What do you think the Trump administration should take up next? And do you think that Donald Trump will be addressing that, or that it's important for him to be addressing that here at Davos?
So a couple things. I think I would say trade, but we seem to be moving the wrong direction in trade.
Oh, well, let's start. I mean, so let's stop and
yes.
Cover that a little bit. So do you think the new tariffs are not a good way to be going?
Well, I think it's consistent. We'll have to see what the president says tomorrow. But to me, it's very consistent with what we heard. He's going to enforce the the trade rules that are in place today. I mean, tariffs on solar companies and systems is not that big of a deal. We did it in 2012. We did it in 2015. It's a signal. But really, you have to look and see, is he going to start to negotiate a new NAFTA, or is it not going to get happen? This is a big issue this year, obviously, with the Mexican election in July 1, with the midterm elections. He's got to get this done. What he's made clear is that the U.S. wants a better deal, but we got to stop saying that and create the better deal. So those negotiations have to move forward with Chorus and Korea. We missed out on the TPP, where we saw those 11 other countries come together. 95% of the world's population, 80% of GDP growth is outside the United States. We need to find a way to let U.S. companies invest there. We are the most open market in the world. That's not a problem. We say, make America great again, and all of a sudden we look protectionist. But we have made in India. We know in China you have content rules and you have issues with regard to how much ownership you could have. A lot of countries do it. Donald Trump is being more visible with it.
Mark, you've served on one of those advisory committees or councils to President Trump. Does that thing still exist? Are those things still happening? Does the president still listen to CEOs like yourself?
Well, there's three questions there.
Yeah.
The actual panels don't exist anymore.
Right.
I mean, obviously they went away. It's because the CEOs became a distraction. I mean, I honestly believe we have an obligation, EY does, to bring our best talent from around the world, sit at the table, say when we agree, say when we don't disagree. Do not pack up and leave and go outside and complain. That being said, when you become the issue, because the politics and the belief that what we were doing was advising him on all these other issues that we weren't, and the context around that, it became too difficult. That being said, as you know, I chaired the Business Roundtable's Tax and Fiscal Policy Committee, as you said. I did focus quite a bit on working with the administration on the tax law changes. We are working with them now through the BRT and many other ways on trade, talking to them about constructive ways to renegotiate these deals. Infrastructure, a big issue. And we're still focused on immigration. I mean, obviously, from the business community standpoint, immigration is a very good thing. And we need to figure out how to do it. Protect the borders, provide for safety, but figure a way to have positive immigration.